Hey everyone, it's Mace1370. I've been gone for a little while. I was on vacation for the holidays, but we're back now. And in the week that I was gone, the meta went completely bonkers. So we have a few new units to look at. Before we get into it though, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, please see the video description below for a link to my Discord. Alrighty, so we have this new K-pop collab, and then Zio is also a thing. A lot of really interesting characters have been added into the mix, and it's kind of turned everything upside down. You can still be aggressive given very specific pre-bans from your opponent, and often first pick. Essentially, Lua is the main way to do it, and she's still really powerful. But there's a bunch of wrenches that have been thrown into the mix now that we have Zio, who essentially will always take first turn, right? Unless you massively gear gap someone, and then you have units like Winter who are kind of sneakily good against certain heroes like Celilius.
So be it.
And can provide a lot of anti-aggro, kind of energy on their side. So let's look at this draft. I have pre-banned AOL and Bellion. Might switch these up as the season goes on. I'm just going to stick with them for now though, because they're familiar. The opponent has pre-banned Payra and Strays, which is kind of interesting. So he first picks Celilius, so I'm going to take Lua and Spectre Tenebria. I've changed my Lua to Guiding Light in case the enemy picks Zio, so you can see that here. The reasoning here is even though I have a really fast Lua, she's not going to outspeed Zio unless you really gear gap someone, or if they've intentionally built their Zio slower to be more of a bruiser. So the Guiding Light will prevent Zio from interacting with her, and then at her speed she can beat pretty much everything else. So the idea is here I just ignore the Zio. And I want Spectre because that's another target Zio can't hit. Spectre has amazing synergy with Lua, with the book for the soul burn. Just a really safe early DPS, that you can take in situations like this and many others. So let's see how they're going to utilize Celilius. They take Lionheart's Sirmia, so that's a little interesting. Maybe that's more just to deny me from taking it, since Lionheart Sirmia is a popular counter pick to Conquer Lilius. And Lionheart Sirmia, to her credit, can delete Spectre if she, triggers her passive and gets defense buff. Her S3 will typically just one-shot most Spectre Tenebrias. I don't have anything on my team right now, though, to enable the Lionheart Sirmia unless I get a lucky/unlucky dual attack, depending on how you look at it. So I think here we'll take DJ Basar. I think he's a pretty decent pick into Conquer and Zio, since you can build him with enough effect resistance and speed to kind of cut in between the Conquer Lilius/Zio opener and whatever his DPS are, and still have enough ER to prevent the provoke from Conqueror. So it kind of interrupts the momentum from that side of the field. And then we're going to take Winter. Don't know if this is a great pick or not, but I kind of want to try it out. I think Winter is actually pretty decent into Celilius, since Celilius will trigger Winter's passive, which cleanses her, gives her immunity, and CR boosts her and stuff. So I think that Winter can kind of play around Celilius in that way. Also, if we reset the Celilius, it'll allow us reset her with Lua. It'll allow Winter to skill 3 before Lilius gets her skills off, and then it's kind of a deterrent for Celilius to press buttons. Moreover, he has not picked any cleansers, or immunity providers, so Winter can 2-turn stun a target. You get a lot of value that way. So he takes Ed, which I don't super care about Ed right now. Here's the thing with Ed. Ed is, on the one hand, good into debuffs, right? And we have a fair number of debuffs on our side, but Ed is bad into debuffs that you can put on via non-attack skills. And we have 2 of those. We have DJ Basar and we have Lua. They can both debuff Ed and not trigger his passive, which means that you can overload him with debuffs. So I'm not scared about Ed here, since I can just take another DPS unit. I think Apoc Ravi is really good here. So the idea is I can ban out, I'll probably just ban the Aiden, because Aiden's kind of annoying. Even though I have Spectre, I don't really want to deal with the team invincibility, and I think Aiden is a lot more damage than Ed. So we can just ignore Ed. We'll just use single target attacks. I won't even use Spectre S3 at first. And we'll just save Ed until we can one-shot him with Spectre, or until we can land a stun via stacking debuffs. Because you can do things like Lewis skill 3 or DJB skill 2, get a debuff on him, and then Spectre skill 3, and then or Winter skill 3 him, and he'll cleanse. I think it might shuffle and be random, but I'm pretty sure most of the time it cleanses the one that's already on him, and then the stun lands. And then that prevents him from hitting you with his passive counterattack. Alrighty, so here comes the Zio's skill 3. You can see our Lua is in Guiding Light. Hidden away safely. He's going to push up DJB and we will resist. So I think about 200 effect resistance is the minimum on DJB right now to prevent things like this, because a lot of Zios are even running like 100 effectiveness. Alright, so we're going to skill 2. We can, put debuff on the enemy team, get that hit down. We're just not going to attack Ed, so he's just going to have to deal with having hit down. And then also it's going to, mitigate damage from the rest of his team if he pulls him with Celilius. And I think actually here I am going to not skill 3 with DJB because he's my one non-stealth anchor unit right now. And I want him to be tanky, so I want to keep that passive damage reduction.
Nuisances should be dealt with.
We'll sleep the Celilius just in case we get 15%ed on the reset. I don't really want to soul burn. I feel like it's not super necessary here since we landed the sleep. Because she's the one target we really care about resetting. Let's see, who do we want to winter? I think we just go... we could go for Sirmia and just try to kill her. That's a possibility. Or we could just snipe out the Zio and get rid of him. I think that's the play. Since if we, dual attack and randomly trigger the Sirmia, then she's going to cleanse off the stun anyways. This way we get value. And we essentially almost killed the Zio, which is nice. So I'm debating about soul burning here to kill off the Sirmia, but I think we can just wait. Okay, he crits even though he has hit down. That's unlucky. But that's okay. We can go into Celilius here and try and land another stun to control her and prevent her from using her passive, or I mean her, vigor buff and stuff. We get the stun, so that was lucky. And I think at this point we can control the enemy team pretty well, so we just have to avoid dual attacking.
Are you sure you can handle this?
Isn't it crazy how I feel like with dual attacks, half the time they hurt you and half the time they help? Like, they're just literally like the essence of RNG. Alright, so didn't get the defense break, that's fine. And I think now we can probably kill Sirmia if we soul burn. I still don't want to use skill 3 yet. We're just going to save that for Ed. Yeah, so we'll soul burn on Sirmia here. See how much this does. Proof of Valor. Okay, so yeah, Sirmia is definitely dead. Do we kill her or do we go into Celilius? I think we should just kill Sirmia, because we don't want her getting defense buff. That would complicate things. Alright.
Really want your blood spilled?
And now we can go into Celilius. Defense break? Nope.
What'll happen now?
Looking at the CR bar here, let's see, is it worth boosting?
Let's go.
No, I don't think it is, because Ed can still skill 3. Oh, there's the dual attack. Alright, well, Sirmia is dead, so all good. This is probably worth soul burning to get the 100% stun chance on Celilius. I don't want her putting up buffs and attack downing the team and stuff. I don't think we'll need souls from Spectre. Okay, so Ed can skill 3 here, but he has hit down, and we still have our passive from DJB. Alright, he crits again. I guess hit debuff is a lie. But remember with DJB, if you don't use his skill 3, he keeps his passive damage reduction, so he's a lot tankier if you don't skill 3. And so now we can just stack debuffs on Ed. We can hit down with DJB. We got it. Now we can skill 3, right, because the game's over. Because now Lua can go, and she can put another debuff on Ed.
You have no value to me.
I guess we'll just sleep Celilius.
Here through the cracks of time and space.
This doesn't really matter, but, you know,
I'll be the
souls.
one deciding how this story
And we can
ends.
skill 3.
Since there's no getting away from it, make peace and accept your fate.
And if this S3 from Spectre doesn't outright kill with the stacks, then the stun should stick.
My feet. I will step on you.
Oh, looks like it killed. Okay, cool.
How about
That's
a
game.
little warm-up? Back me up here. going according to plan. I feel good about it.
Alrighty, we have another game here, and then we can go ahead and review the hero stats at the end. We get first pick this time, so we can take our Lua.
It looks like somebody forgot their place.
I'm gonna have to experiment a little bit, just kind of playing games and seeing how much I care about Zeo, since it would be nice to run a different artifact on Lua other than Guiding Light. So here the opponent steals Spectre. I think we can just take Zeo. We can do a mage draft with Lua. We can take like Zeo Roy, and then at the end we'll probably take a CR booster or some sort of enabler attack buffer thing, plus an anchor or something like that.
I'll show you what the true
So we can take Zeo. I think Zeo's actually kind of deceptively good into Arrowell, because Zeo, he does enough damage to knock off the barrier usually, and that means that Lua will then strip the escort off, which is really valuable before the rest of your team goes.
Fight with the power of all.
And then maybe even some Arrowells with low ER, they might just lose the escort right to his skill 3. Okay, so he's taking APOC and Aiden. Okay, well, so we need probably a CR booster to get Roy up, because he's built a little more slowly. I guess my options would be Guider Aether, or I could take top model Luluka. Aether could stun, which could be nice since he doesn't really have cleanses. But top model is way more fun, right? So I think we'll go top model, and then we need an anchor of some sort. So I think actually Arya could be okay. Arya's actually not bad. Yeah, let's go. I guess we could go Arya.
You haven't heard of Shadow.
I guess in hindsight, Arrowell is a little problematic because she could strip and stun, and that would be not good on the Arya. Sage Vivian could be okay also. Kind of the same problem there with the Arrowell. Wow, what a fun unit. So we take Senya, so we get lucky and he kind of takes something at the end that doesn't really matter. I think we have options for Senya in our draft already. And we can just ban out the Arrowell. I don't think we need to ban Senya. We have Lua to reset the Senya. We have Zeo to silence the Senya. We have Roy to delete the Senya. So, Senya I don't think matters. You can say I almost banned her though. Because I think I was afraid he was going to ban the Lua. But yeah, no, we can just ban Arrowell. He bans Roy. I think we still have plenty of damage here. Alright, so we get a Zeo showcase. Alright, so right now my Zeo is not built very tanky. I'll talk about that more when we go over the build. I may change that. I think Bulk has a lot of value on him. But right now he is like 260 speed and pretty high damage with 100 effectiveness. So here, I think we definitely silence the Senya.
deny their fate must suffer their consequences.
Okay, we got it. Pretty good chunk of damage, right? He does more damage the more HP they have, so it makes sense to hit a high HP target, so either Aravi or Senya. And then we can... Who do we want to sleep? I guess sleeping APOC. We don't really want to sleep the Aiden because it might miss, and then that would trigger her counterattack, which would be not good. So yeah, let's do that. And we might as well Soulburn here just to be safe, because I don't think we have a super high use for souls other than Arya. But she won't need them for a little while. We don't want to Soulburn her just yet, because she'll just rotate out of her passive, right? We also kind of want to hold on to her skill 2, or like, the passive counterattack thing when she gets max focus, because that will strip away invincibility from Aiden if Aiden puts that up. Although Aiden's reset right now. Okay, yeah, so we'll just skill 3 with Arya. We delete the Senya because we deserve it. The opponent agrees.
Something to protect, I will never lose.
Alright, we get a counter there into Aiden, so that's nice. We got the miss there, so that should have triggered her passive away. Crits through blind. Blind really is a lie. Okay, here comes our passive. I guess this will just delete the Stenny, so that's nice. Okay, good chunk of damage to Aiden. Okay, so I misplay here. I attack Aiden. And I thought that Arya's thing should have reset her passive. So I was like, oh, I can just attack her here, and then we can attack with Zio. But you can, we get a dual attack with Zio, but that doesn't kill her, and so she activates her thing, or her passive counterattack. But we missed on her with Arya's duel, so that's weird. I feel like that should have reset it, but I guess maybe it doesn't. He deletes Zio, so there goes my showcase. And yeah, we can attack with top model, and so now it is everyone against Apocalypse Ravi, a scenario very reminiscent of the previous season. But we have Arya here, so I think his APOC is going to really struggle to do anything. We can go ahead and just put up a blind debuff. We don't want to soul burn yet, we don't want to cycle out of our debuffs, right? So he counters, so this is a counter APOC. Those are pretty annoying. I think only because their counter rate is like 70%. Alright, we counter, because we have counter buff, which is 100%. So we can just send our S3 here into APOC.
Victory is mine. You're not bad. But you're no match for me.
Alright, counterattack. I think the most annoying thing about this is that you never deplete the fighting spirit or whatever it's called when they counter, because they get more of it back. We can sleep, and then we can reset again. And then we have a bunch of souls with Arya, so we should just be able to delete the APOC with the Arya.
Make peace and accept your fate.
Okay, ooh, she actually reset, or resisted the reset, but she was slept, so it's all good. Okay, we can burn with Arya. And I guess we'll burn with Arya again. And then we can skill 3 with Arya.
I'll be with you.
And this will trigger our passive attack. Okay, death by penguin. Oh, I guess I spoke too soon. Not dead yet.
Are you ready?
Okay, now she's dead. Alright, that's game. Alrighty, let's take a look at the units. So we can do Zio first. If you're wondering if you should pull Zio, the answer is an absolute yes. He is super strong. I think even outside of RTA, he's going to have a lot of value, like on arena defense and stuff like that, Guild War defense. He'll mix comps up a lot, I think. So I have a very aggressive build on him right now. He's 262 speed and then pretty much all damage with 100 effectiveness. And I like this build. However, I'm thinking of probably dropping the damage a bit and investing more into bulk, which helps, him survive more and really synergizes well with his DFI, buff he gets after he uses skill 3. I've seen some tanky Zios on the ladder, they live forever, like with this buff. He just takes no damage, it's kind of insane. So for that reason, I think it's probably worth dropping the damage a tad and then putting more into bulk. But other than that, I really like him, and I think he's very usable with his build right now. It's just you kind of really want to draft him aggressively. So it would be nice to help kind of flex into a more defensive position if you want to with him. So the other unit we kind of showcased was Winter. I think Winter is an interesting unit. You need to build her with 100% crit for her skill 3 because it gives fixed damage if you crit, and that's where all of her damage comes from. So you can kind of abuse the fact that she gets all of this fixed damage, right? Think Rimuru. And once you have that, you can just invest the rest into effectiveness, bulk, and speed. I think around 260 speed is a really nice spot to put her. And beyond that, just focus on effectiveness and bulk. I think I might even drop her bulk a bit and go for more effectiveness. It would be really nice to reliably stun units like Destina and stuff like that. So you can see her build here. I think that her artifact is pretty flexible also. There's a lot of different things you could put on her artifact. I have the Secret Art Sword Storm, which is kind of an anti-tech against Cleave, and it's good. You know, if they use a passive ability from Flan or something like that, she's going to boost up and probably cut the the enemy, which really increases her usefulness against drafts like that. But that's certainly not the only artifact you could use. I think her own artifact is pretty good. It gives crit chance, which is nice, makes it easier to build her, and then the little barrier that it gives is nice to help her stay in stealth. You could use Sword of Winter Shadow, also for anti-cleave, because this removes souls after her non-attack skill activates. So she can activate that with her passive. When they use a non-attack skill, it'll then activate hers, which then takes away their souls. Let's see, we have the Secret Art Sword Storm. Yeah, you could use Manacove control. This gives her hit chance and crit, so the crit makes it easier to build, because of her skill 3, and then hit chance is nice, which could help her stun evasion units, but it's still going to be a coin flip, right? Alabastron, I think, is a pretty strong option for her as well. Increases her effectiveness, which is really nice. And then these other debuffs, could be useful. Most of them are pretty bad. What is it? It's whoops, decreased attack, that's okay. Decreased defense is probably the best one. And then speed and unhealable are both fine. Probably unhealable is the worst. And then, speed and attack are fairly even, and then decreased defense is the strongest. So 1 out of 4 chance to get a really strong one, 3 out of 4 chance to get a pretty decent one. Not horrible, but the main reason to put that on would be for the effectiveness, I think. Which I don't think is affected by, the level of the artifact. You just get that for a plus 15 copy. But yeah, she's really good. I think you should definitely pull a copy of her. I don't think you even really need to whale on her super hard to get a bunch of imprints or anything. I ended up getting a couple because I just felt like it, I guess. I was trying to get her artifact and I finally got one. Her, build having to have crit, you can just use a crit chance neck and then, an artifact with a little crit, and you can probably get there with, subpar gear. But definitely worth pulling. A pretty strong unit into units, like Destina or other healers that have a bunch of non-attack skills. I think that'll be it for now. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoy the matches, and I will catch you guys next time. Later.